Let's get right into it. Number 10, your beloved bed. Picture this. You've had a brutal week. Your boss emailed you at 11 p.m. Your car made a noise that sounded like it was auditioning for a horror film. And you've eaten nothing but vending machine sadness for 3 days. Finally, it's the weekend. You crawl into bed, pull the blanket up, close your eyes. You think asterisk finally. Safety. Peace. Asterisk. And sure, in 99-point-something% of cases, that is exactly what happens. You sleep, you drool a little, you wake up. Life continues. But here's the thing your mattress doesn't advertise. Sleeping can kill you. Not dramatically. Not in a cinematic villain monologue kind of way. More like a quiet, slow, statistical whisper of a way. The condition is called positional asphyxia, and it means that if your body ends up in certain positions during deep sleep, face pressed too far into a pillow, neck at a bad angle, something compressing your airway, your oxygen supply can get cut off, while you are completely unconscious and extremely bad at noticing problems. It's most common in infants, in people who've had a lot to drink, or in people with certain health conditions. But the mechanism is there, lurking in everyone's bedroom like an overachieving urban legend. Your body is supposed to wake itself up when CO2 levels spike, and usually it does. But sleep is, by definition, a state of lowered consciousness and reduced responsiveness. So sometimes, it just doesn't. The thing that's supposed to be restorative, regenerative, and deeply human, the thing literally every doctor on the planet tells you to get more of, has a tiny checkbox in the back of the instruction manual that says may occasionally malfunction. Basically, you spent your whole life afraid of the dark, when it was the pillow you should have been watching. Number 9, drinking water. Hydration is the answer to everything. Tired? Drink water. Headache? Drink water. Existential dread? Water. Skin looks bad? You probably need water. Water is the universal fix, the boring miracle, the thing that technically makes up most of your body and most of the planet simultaneously. So obviously it can also kill you, because of course it can. The condition is called hyponatremia, and it happens when you drink so much water so fast that you dilute the sodium in your blood to dangerously low levels. Your cells, which depend on that sodium balance to function correctly, start absorbing excess water and swelling up. Your brain, being housed inside a rigid skull with exactly zero expansion room, does not enjoy this. What follows is headaches, confusion, seizures, and in severe cases, death. Now before you throw your water bottle out the window, this typically happens at extremes. Endurance athletes who guzzle gallons mid-race. People in certain rare medical situations. But it has happened to ordinary people just trying to be healthy. There are documented cases of people dying from drinking too much water in a short span of time, and the eerie part is that in the early stages it looks exactly like dehydration. Same symptoms. So their instinct is to drink more. More water. More of the thing that is actively causing the problem. Your body is a closed system with very specific electrolyte needs, and you can, in fact, love hydration too hard. The thing that keeps you alive has a maximum setting, and it's lower than you'd think. Number 8. A nice, hot shower. The hot shower is one of civilization's finest achievements. It's not just bathing, it's therapy. You go in with the problems of the morning and you stand under scalding water and you just reset. It's warm. It's private. It's where you mentally rehearse arguments you'll never actually have. Humans have built entire skincare routines around it. It's practically sacred. And it wants to kill you. Politely, gradually, without raising its voice. The problem works on 2 levels. The first is cardiovascular. Very hot water causes your blood vessels to dilate rapidly, which drops your blood pressure. For most people, this is just a mild head rush when they stand up too fast. But for people with heart conditions, low blood pressure, or just bad luck on a bad day, the sudden shift can trigger fainting, cardiac events, or a fall, which in a hard, wet, enclosed space is its own category of nightmare. The second level is subtler and longer term. Extremely hot showers strip the skin's lipid barrier, the protective layer your body spends all day maintaining. Strip it enough, over enough time, and your skin becomes compromised. More vulnerable to infection, more reactive, more likely to crack and let things in that shouldn't be in. But let's be real. The fainting is the main concern. There is something uniquely undignified about being felled by your own shower, the thing you used to be cleaner and calmer. You went in to feel better and your blood pressure said, actually, let's revisit that. Warm showers, people. The universe has opinions. Number 7. Eating a salad. Salads are the universal symbol of trying. You bring a salad to lunch and everyone knows you're making an effort. You've chosen the responsible path. You've opted out of the burger and into the leafy green promise of a longer, more virtuous life. Good for you, truly. Except some of those greens would like a word. Raw sprouts, the kind that show up in trendy grain bowls and health food sandwiches, are one of the most bacteria-friendly foods you can put in your body. Alfalfa, clover, mung bean, radish sprouts. They're grown in warm, damp conditions, which is exactly what E. coli and salmonella would design if they were given free rein over an agricultural operation. The FDA has issued dozens of warnings about sprout-related outbreaks over the years. Not sketchy gas station sushi. Sprouts. The virtuous little tendrils sitting on top of your $18 wellness bowl. But sprouts aren't even the most ironic part. That honor goes to leafy greens broadly, spinach, romaine, arugula, which are responsible for more foodborne illness outbreaks in the U.S. than almost any other food category. Largely because they're eaten raw, often grown near animal agriculture, and washed with varying levels of enthusiasm before being handed to you in a bowl with some lemon vinaigrette. The biology here is pretty straightforward. Cooking kills pathogens. Salads, by definition, skip that step. And while your immune system handles the vast majority of these encounters without you ever noticing, every few years someone's romaine sends an entire region to the hospital and the CDC updates its advisory list again. Your body is trying to be healthy. The salad has other plans. Number 6. Stairs. Stairs are so normal they're basically invisible. They're in every building, every home, every parking garage and train station on the planet. Children run up them. Elderly people take them slow. Fitness influencers sprint them for content. Stairs are so mundane that most people have never, not once, stopped to think, this could end me. And yet, stairs are statistically one of the most dangerous things in the average person's daily environment. In the United States alone, stair-related injuries send roughly 1 million people to the emergency room every year. Falls on stairs account for a significant portion of accidental deaths, particularly in older adults but not exclusively. Young, healthy people with perfectly good balance also fall down stairs. They misjudge a step, look at their phone, carry something bulky, wear socks on a hardwood staircase, or simply experience the one glitch in their spatial awareness software that they didn't know was there. The psychology of why stairs are so dangerous is actually fascinating. Because we use them so often, we stop actively processing them. Your brain automates the staircase. It runs a background program, Stairs Protocol, and lets your conscious attention wander, which is efficient, except that the protocol occasionally encounters an unexpected variable. A step that's slightly taller than normal, a rug that shifted 2 inches, your own shoelace. And when the automated system crashes, it crashes fast because you're already mid-motion, mid-air, committed to a trajectory your body chose before your brain re-engaged. The danger isn't that stairs are treacherous. It's that they're so familiar you stopped respecting them. The thing you've climbed 10,000 times is saving its one shot for a random Tuesday. Number 5. Laughing too hard. Here's one for the people who thought this list would eventually run out of places to hide. Laughter. Pure, uninhibited, tears streaming down your face laughter. The thing that's supposed to be good for you. The thing that studies say extends your life, reduces cortisol, and strengthens social bonds. Can also, in rare cases, end it. A few different ways, actually, because your body is committed to the bit. First, intense laughter can trigger cardiac arrhythmias in people with underlying heart conditions. The spike in adrenaline, the sudden changes in heart rate, the physical exertion, it adds up. There are documented cases of people experiencing fatal heart events in the middle of genuine, involuntary laughter. The phrase "died laughing" is usually a figure of speech, but occasionally it is a coroner's report. Second, gelastic syncope, a fancy term for fainting triggered by laughter. The mechanism involves sudden drops in blood pressure, similar to other vasovagal responses, except the trigger is something hilarious your friend said at dinner. You laughed too hard, your blood pressure dipped, and down you went. Third, for people with conditions like cataplexy, intense positive emotion including laughter triggers a sudden loss of muscle tone. The brain's signals get scrambled by emotional intensity. People can collapse mid-laugh while remaining fully conscious, which sounds like a cruel joke, and medically speaking, it is. And fourth, the least dramatic but probably most statistically likely, laughing while eating. Choking. It happens. Laughter is medicine. Medicine has a dosage limit. Your funny bone and your actual bones are in a complicated relationship. Number 4. Holding in a sneeze. Sneezing in public has always been socially complicated. Pre-2020, people gave you a cautious look. Post-2020, they give you a look that could strip paint off a wall. So it makes complete sense that humans developed a habit of suppressing sneezes, pinching the nose, clamping the mouth shut, doing that full-body shudder that looks like a glitch in the simulation. Polite, considerate, quietly self-destructive. Because here is what a sneeze actually is: your body launching air out of your nose at somewhere between 100 and 300 miles per hour. It is a pressure event. A forceful, coordinated, full respiratory system pressure event that evolution designed specifically to expel irritants as fast and violently as possible. Your body wants that air out. When you block both exits, nose and mouth simultaneously, that pressure has nowhere to go. So it goes inward. It reverberates back through your sinuses, your eustachian tubes, your throat. And occasionally, it does something more dramatic. There are documented medical cases of people rupturing the back of their throat by stifling a sneeze. The force tore tissue in the pharynx. There are cases of cracked ribs, ruptured blood vessels in the eyes, hearing damage from pressure spikes in the inner ear. One particularly memorable case involved a man who sealed off a sneeze so thoroughly that he fractured the cartilage in his larynx. None of this is common. None of this happens every time someone politely suppresses a sneeze at a funeral. But the mechanism is real, the pressure is real, and your body is genuinely not built to redirect a sneeze back into itself. The sneeze is not the problem. You are the problem. Let it out. Into your elbow. Like a person. Number 3. Exercise. Exercise is the answer. Always the answer. Bad mental health? Exercise. High blood pressure? Exercise. Bored? Anxious? Unfulfilled? Slightly too attached to your couch? Exercise. Every doctor, every study, every wellness podcast recorded in someone's closet with foam panels tells you the same thing. Move your body. It will help. It always helps. And it does help. Almost always. But almost is doing some quiet heavy lifting in that sentence. The most dramatic risk is something called sudden cardiac death during exercise. And before your brain files this under things that only happen to unfit people, stop. It also happens to athletes. Trained athletes. People who run marathons and lift serious weight and have resting heart rates that make their doctors raise their eyebrows in impressed silence. In young athletes especially, sudden cardiac events during intense exercise are often caused by undetected structural abnormalities in the heart, conditions that sat completely silent until the moment of high exertion. No symptoms, no warning, just a heart that had a hidden design flaw and met its load limit. Then there's rhabdomyolysis, a condition where muscle tissue breaks down so aggressively that it floods the bloodstream with proteins the kidneys were never designed to process in those quantities. This has happened to people who did a first spin class too hard, or who jumped into an extreme workout after a long break. The kidneys can fail. It requires hospitalization. The thing you did to get healthier lands you in the ICU. The biology of exercise is essentially controlled damage. You stress the muscles, they repair stronger. You stress the cardiovascular system, it adapts. The whole system is built on the assumption that you apply appropriate stress in appropriate doses. Ignore the appropriate part and the body stops adapting and starts protesting. Loudly. In a clinical setting. Movement is medicine. But you can overdose on medicine. Number 2. Being too happy. This one sounds made up. It is not made up. Science delivered this one with a completely straight face and zero apologies. Takotsubo cardiomyopathy, more commonly known as broken heart syndrome, you've probably heard of. Intense grief, shock, or emotional distress causes the heart to temporarily change shape, affecting its ability to pump properly. Can mimic a heart attack. It's real, it's documented, and it mostly makes sense. Extreme sadness is stressful. Stress does things to hearts. Tragic, sure, but logical. Now meet its lesser-known cousin, happy heart syndrome. The exact same condition. The exact same mechanism. The exact same temporary cardiac dysfunction and heart attack-like presentation. Triggered not by devastating loss, but by overwhelming joy. Surprise parties. Wedding days. The birth of a grandchild. A beloved sports team winning a championship. Researchers analyzing Takotsubo cases found that a surprising percentage of them were triggered not by negative emotional events, but overwhelmingly positive ones. And they had to invent a new subcategory because no one had planned for too much happiness as a cardiac risk factor. The underlying mechanism is the same. Intense emotional arousal floods your system with adrenaline and stress hormones. Your heart does not distinguish between the kind of overwhelming feeling that makes you cry from sadness and the kind that makes you cry from joy. It just sees a tidal wave of neurochemical intensity and responds accordingly, sometimes by malfunctioning. Your brain knows the difference between a wedding and a funeral. Your cardiovascular system has a much blunter instrument. You can, in a measurable and medically verifiable sense, be so happy it stops your heart, which is either the most romantic thing in the world or a complaint you can never actually file anywhere. Number 1. Just sitting there. No dramatic scenario for this one. No extreme sport, no freak weather event, no rare medical condition with a Latin name that sounds like a spell. Just you, in a chair, doing nothing, existing horizontally-ish in a piece of furniture specifically designed for human comfort. That is the number 1 entry on this list. Sitting. The thing you are probably doing right now. Here's the part that should genuinely unsettle you. Researchers have started referring to prolonged sitting as the new smoking. Not because it's a perfect analogy, but because the health data is alarming enough that scientists needed a comparison that would make people actually pay attention. Sitting for extended, unbroken periods is independently associated with increased risk of cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes, certain cancers, deep vein thrombosis, and all-cause mortality. Independently meaning even in people who exercise regularly. You can go to the gym every morning and still accumulate enough sitting hours to significantly increase your health risks. The workout doesn't fully cancel the chair. The chair runs its own tab. The biology is frustratingly elegant in how it works against you. When you sit for long periods, the large muscles in your legs, some of the biggest in your body, go almost completely inactive. Those muscles play a major role in regulating glucose and lipid metabolism. Shut them down for hours at a time and your body's metabolic processes start to drift. Blood pools in the lower extremities. Circulation slows. In the deepest veins of your legs, that stagnant blood can form clots. Deep vein thrombosis, which usually stays local and painful and unpleasant, but occasionally breaks free and travels to the lungs. That's a pulmonary embolism. That is a medical emergency. That can kill you. And its origin story is you sat still for too long. Economy class flights are one of the highest profile examples of this risk. Long-haul flights come with genuine medical advisories about moving around the cabin precisely because of clot risk. But the flight is finite. The office chair, the couch, the car seat, those are 8, 10, 12 hours a day, day after day for decades. The wildest part of all of this is the psychological relationship humans have with rest. We treat sitting as neutral, as zero, as the absence of doing something harmful. And in terms of immediate sensation, it feels like relief, like recovery, like the reward you get after doing the hard thing. But biologically, extended sitting is not neutral. It is an active state with active consequences. Your body is not at rest. It is slowly recalibrating in a direction you didn't vote for. Humanity spent hundreds of thousands of years evolving to walk, run, crouch, climb, and carry things. The chair has existed for a few thousand years. The desk job 8 hours a day chair has existed for maybe 100. Your body has not updated its firmware. It still expects movement as the default and treats stillness as the temporary exception, not the other way around. So the number one thing on this list that feels completely safe but carries a quiet, cumulative, statistically verified chance of contributing to your death is the act of doing nothing. The act of resting. The thing that feels like the opposite of danger. Your couch is not your enemy, but it is not entirely your friend either. It's more like that one person in your life who means well, never causes obvious drama, but somehow every time you spend too much time with them, things quietly get worse. Stand up, walk around the room, come back. The video will still be here. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.